You guys are live.
Good morning, everyone. Happy New Year to everyone. Today is Thursday, January 14th, 2021. This is the Village of East Hampton Planning Board meeting. Did everybody have a chance to read over the last month's minutes?
Yes.
Do I have a motion to accept them?
So moved.
Second also?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Pam, can you read the resolution for today, please?
There's no resolution. I think you have to open the hearing. Is that correct, Beth?
You'll have to open the hearing for the further farm.
Okay,
We were going to reopen it
okay, so
at the request of the applicant.
I'm going to open the hearing for Further Lane LLC 218 and 226 Further Lane. I'm going to open that hearing for paperwork to come through, correct? I have to.
We'll need a motion. We'll need
Have a
someone.
motion?
I'll make that.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear the second.
So I'll second.
Thank you.
All in favor?
Aye. Aye.
So big. That's all we need, Beth?
For that, yes. So now the hearing is open.
Okay.
And I
Thank you.
believe the plan is to,
Hear it in February.
in February, correct. Continuation of the hearing in February.
Okay, so we'll move on to the next, which I believe, Pam, is Kim and Ricky Slater, 31
Yes,
Cooper
that's
Lane.
correct. Yep,
Are they on the line?
I saw Rick there.
Morning. Are you able to
Good
hear
morning.
me?
Yeah,
I thank the board for our opportunity to get together with you today to make the request. And I know you're busy, but we thank you. Our request today is an amendment of the board's resolution for number 29 and 31 Cooper Lane that was dated March 9th of 2000. Suffolk County Tax Map numbers 301-1-4.1 and 2. We took possession when we bought number 29 Cooper Lane in 1999. As a result of our purchase, the village board certified a deeded access. So of course, 29 wouldn't be landlocked. The access to coming off of Cooper Lane through the property of 31, which we now own as of August of 2020. The survey in front of you dated 1999, July 12th of 1999, depicts a 15-foot driveway easement that crosses over the front lot, number 31. You would question why it was done this way in a diagonal position. But if you take notice to the entry of number 29, the rear cottage, the entrance, the only entrance, is on the north end of the building. And our dear friend, Dick Peel, who owned the properties back in the day, thought it was convenient for the tenant or family member to park as close to that door as possible. So that's why that's reflected in that. And that was, again, agreed to March 9th of 2000. Today, we come before you as we are in the process of permitting number 31 with a new structure, a new primary house. And now we have to come together and plan for the future development of the back property number 29. In doing so, we are looking for a reduction of a 15-foot easement to 12 feet. And the reason for that is basically, and ultimately, is the safety of traffic flow coming through the two properties. 12 feet would give ample distance for utilities, water, electric, and gas, natural gas coming off of Cooper. Your survey that is proposed dated July 12th, December the 3rd of this past year of 2020 depicts the proposed driveway easement, utility easement, hugging that southern border, straight shot to the back. And with this, we have a parking spur indicated. We have a nice parking area out back. And we ultimately use little property, keeping this driveway as far away from the buildings for safety measures as possible. With the future of the back build out, we would increase parking and alleviate some of the hazardous parking conditions on Cooper Lane, which we'll address later with a different board, but that's a major concern. Traffic flow off of Cooper and keeping these occupants or family at number 29 and 31 safe. So I think it's a well sought out plan. A lot of thought went into this. You know, when we develop these properties, we first work around access, parking, and then formulate a plan with what can go around them safely. Would there be any questions? Did I leave anything out?
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Slater?
Essentially, you're treating two properties as one property, correct?
No, they are, well, we own both properties.
Right.
And they are two different tax maps, two different properties. They are
Okay.
separate. But the access point, of course, is our common driveway.
Okay.
O'Brien? Bruce?
I don't have a problem with this.
No, I don't either. I think this actually looks really good. It seems to simplify access to both properties and, you know, gets everything along that southern edge and a straight shot back to number 29. So I think it looks pretty good.
John?
See no problem with it.
Yeah, I have to agree. I think Ricky did a good job. That's a tough road, and you're trying to get the parking on the parcel or both parcels, which I agree with. I really have no problem with this at all. I know there was a lot of thought put into this, and I'd like to see the parking, you know, that's on Cooper Lane now that people have been parking. You've made room for your cars, so I commend you for that. So that being said, everybody in favor of this?
Right.
Yes.
Billy, you popping in here? Go ahead.
Yeah, so I didn't have an opportunity to present the board with a written report on the application, but I do believe it's going to require a variance because the village code requires 20 feet of frontage for any property. When the lots merged and were unmerged, the prior owner received a variance from the zoning board to allow for 15 feet of frontage with a 15-foot easement. So reducing that to 12 increases the degree of nonconformity and would require relief by the zoning board. So before the planning board could act, this would require relief by the zoning board. Secondly, we'd be best served to have an opinion from the fire marshal to ensure that a 12-foot wide common driveway is wide enough for acceptable for two lots. Those are my only two comments.
So do you want me to put it back to the zoning board first before it comes back to us?
Yeah. Well, you can't act on this until until they receive a variance from the zoning board. That's my understanding. That's what I think anyway.
Beth, what do you think?
Yes, I think they should go back to get their variance.
Okay, then come back to us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm for that, and we'll get a letter from the fire marshal about the road. Everybody in agreement with that?
Yes.
Okay. Rick, you got some work ahead of you.
Yeah, with that said, I have a question. We will be before the zoning board on the placement of accessory structures relocation. Would I do that all in one big
You
know,
could.
package?
You could, if you have an application in, I would amend it to include that additional request.
Okay.
So when it goes to notice, it's included.
Very good. I'm before the Suffolk County Board of Health right now. I'm about to submit, and then I will apply for the variance all inclusive of the easement change. I took note a couple of weeks ago on one of your meetings with an applicant who referred to the scale of the environment up on Further Lane, and I kind of laughed. I wanted to invite them down to our Cooper Lane small postage stamp type properties or size properties. And this is a real task to be able to maneuver safely in and out and get whatever, the safely cars parked and traffic flow. And it's very important. I thank you for your time. I thank you for your comments. I'll put the package together and go before the zoning board, but look forward to seeing you again relatively soon.
Okay, I appreciate your time. You should get together with Billy Hayjack when you go forward with this,
Thank all of
the
you.
village planner, okay?
Have a good day. Thank you.
All right, thank
Thanks,
you.
Ray.
All right, so we should move forward for the lot line modification. 40 Middle Lane. Correct? Pam?
Is John Tarbett there or?
I have to recuse myself on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
No, is Jonathan online there?
I see
I
my-
can't.
Yes, he is.
Okay, good. Very good.
Okay, goodbye.
Bye, John.
Bye.
Okay, can we hear from John Tarbett Jr.?
Sure. So I'm appearing before the board on 40 and 50 Middle Lane. Owns both those properties. One is vacant with a tennis court on it. The other is an improved property. If you've had a chance to go out there, the improved property is sort of overbuilt, to be honest. It's very congested and doesn't feel like a state property because of all the pre-existing development on the property. The goal here would be to transfer property from the vacant property, which would then give the improved property more space. The improved property is where my client lives, will be living, that's currently undergoing renovations. It's a pretty straightforward, it's sort of, if you imagine it, it's like a mirror image of what exists now. So right now, you basically have a 2-acre lot that's improved and a 4-acre lot that's vacant. Afterwards, you would have a 4-acre improved property and a 2-acre vacant lot. We have applied to the zoning board because we will need a variance. The variance would be because the vacant lot, if we transfer the property, will become non-conforming to lot area. However, offsetting that is that the currently improved property, if this were all be approved, would become conforming to lot area. So it wouldn't be made, while it needs a variance, it's just basically a mirror image or a flipping of what exists now. I think that pretty much explains the project. I don't know if there's any questions on it.
Tolbron?
My only question is with regard to the fact that there are, between the two properties, 3 curb cuts. So are you merging these into one property that would then have 3 curb cuts?
So the existing improved property has a pretty nice driveway. It is 2 curb cuts, but it's a circular driveway. They were not planning to eliminate that existing driveway on the improved property. With regard to the vacant property, the one driveway would still exist there. So it would continue to be, like you said, 3 curb cuts.
Would you take one out?
I would ask before, I would bring that back to the client, but I would love if the board could just go up and look at the improved property and the layout of the 2 driveways. That it's just a circuit. It's not 2 driveways. It's a circular driveway. It would really change how that property operates. So I'll bring it back to the client, and maybe by the next meeting, if the board could just take one last look at it. I think it's a pretty safe. I don't think there's any danger issues there. There's no blind curves or elevation changes. I
did look at it, but that's a pretty that's a very narrow road. Middle Lane is really narrow there, and feels very rural. So the fact that one home would have 3 curb cuts.
I don't know.
It does say in the survey that the one curb cut on the west side is being removed. So I don't know if that's true or not.
Sorry, I'm going back to the survey.
Yeah, so if I could clarify, my understanding is that the improved parcel post lot line modification would have there's two right now, and it would have two curb cuts. The code would prohibit more than two curb cuts on any one road frontage. And the newly created parcel, that's the only unclear question I have, is whether that'll have one or two curb cuts. I believe the easement, the existing scenic easement, restricts it to one curb cut, but it's not clear to me, and that's something maybe the
So-
applicant could clarify.
That's
I
what
think
I was
that's
asking.
Yeah, that's a lot easier to deal with. The newly created unimproved property, which would only be 2 acres in size, would only have one curb cut.
Okay.
The 4-acre property, which would have quite a lot of frontage, we would like to continue to keep the driveway that's existed there for, I'm just looking back, it's existed for 20 years or so. It would be a shame to have to remove that driveway. So we're not looking to create any new driveways. And we would be happy to say that the resulting 2-acre lot would only have one curb cut.
Would have one, but are you talking about one property?
Yeah.
40 and 50 are one property.
No, they're two separate properties.
Okay, so there's not the intention to sell or build on the smaller property, the undeveloped property.
There's no plans currently, but it would, to be clear, it would be a vacant buildable lot, the 2-acre property, as it is now. We're not looking to create any new building lots. There's currently 2 building lots. One's 4 acres and vacant. One's 2 acres and improved. We're simply looking to flip that so that the improved property is 4 acres and the vacant property is 2 acres. Both the vacant property is buildable and will continue to be buildable.
And the tennis court would remain.
Honestly, that tennis court's in pretty bad shape. There's no proposal to remove it, but yeah, it would actually remain. It may be that the owner, if it's approved, we may have to try to come in for a building permit to demo it and build a new one. Though it's in pretty bad shape. It would just be a building permit, though. No variances are requested.
Hey, John, I think there was I recall when Lot 1 was subject to a lot line modification with the Krakoff property.
Yes.
They adjusted that property line. I didn't have a lot of time to review this before today's meeting, but could you submit any easements or covenants that affect both properties and clarify if any of those are, I vaguely remember a large lot easement. I don't know if this would impact that or how any of the easements would be affected by this land swap.
Yeah,
I don't think they would be, but it would be good to know.
Our title.
Okay. Yeah, if you could submit it to the board, that would be good.
Yep.
Generally speaking, it creates 2 rectangular shaped lots. It's an equal swap of land area. Personally, to me, I don't see any real issues. I don't think it usurps the subdivision regulations in any way.
Okay.
So do you want to leave this open till we get the paperwork that you're requesting? Billy?
Mhm. Yeah, and I believe the applicant's position is that he requires a variance too for this. So they'd have to get a variance before you could act on the application.
Okay.
And we did submit to the zoning board. Do you think it makes sense to go to the zoning board without the planning board's feedback, or should we wait with your board until we go there? I think it probably helps to go to the zoning board with feedback from this board.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think if the board, if the planning board right now is prepared to send comments, I think they could do that now. However, if the board wanted to wait, if they feel like there's more information that needs to be gathered before they can make their comments or recommendations to the zoning board, they can wait as well.
I think we should wait for the paperwork to go back to us from Billy's requesting and maybe go to the zoning board first. Can we do that?
I don't know if John, have you been scheduled yet? Or Pam, do you know?
I don't think it is. I don't know if it'll be in the
Submitted it.
next batch.
So
Yeah,
we
we
might
only
have
submitted it.
time. We might have another planning board meeting before he's scheduled. So you might be able to, if you get the information at the next meeting, you may be able to send comments at that point, even if it's still before your zoning board meeting.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Yeah.
Everybody in favor of that?
Yeah.
Bruce?
Yeah. And I guess we should have clarification if that third curb cut is gonna remain or not on the larger property. Seeing as you're only allowed 2.
I don't,
That's
no, I don't,
what-
I think there's only two curb cuts well, now it's a smaller property. So I guess we should make sure we're on the same page. What's currently the smaller property and will become the larger property has 2 curb cuts.
Yes.
So we're not proposing to change those at all.
Right.
And then on the vacant property, there actually is a curb cut now, but there would only be 1 curb cut on the vacant property. So it'd be 3 total on 2 properties.
Gotcha. So the one on, let's say well, I don't know which map to refer to.
I have it up.
The proposed map, you're gonna get rid of the existing one that's now on the vacant one. The
Oh,
basic-
correct. I see the confusion. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I asked you at the beginning there about that.
Right.
It was taken off, so.
Yeah.
So
So
the
that-
remains, go ahead, Bruce, I'm sorry.
So the survey, the maps on the survey say it's gonna be removed, so I guess we'll assume that that's gonna get taken away.
Yeah, maybe it would be helpful if we change this survey to show a proposed driveway on the resulting vacant parcel.
Right.
And right, that way you'll see where we're proposing to have.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
And I think the removal of the existing curb cut would be could be a condition of the, whatever determination the board makes.
Hello.
Right.
And Billy, there's no problem blowing another curb cut through that scenic easement?
My understanding is that the easement allows for a single driveway. So, it was factored into when my understanding is that scenic easement was a result of the Craycoff subdivision, which
Okay.
had subsequently been modified. So this would be like the second or third modification of that subdivision.
Okay.
So we'll leave this hearing open?
They'll just come back for another, it's not a public hearing, but they can come back for another meeting.
Okay.
I'm assuming the next one probably they'd be put on.
Mhm.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
Walker?
Yep.
Obron?
Yes.
Okay, so we'll leave it open. Anything else we have to bring up today? I'd like to have a motion to close the hearing, please.
I'll make that motion.
Have a second?
Second.
Thank you, everyone.